Howdy folks, welcome back to the channel. We are here for war number 9 of Season 48, this Magic Thief meta. BAM has elected to keep the season going, which I didn't expect. I thought that they were going to just cancel it after all the missteps, but instead they've elected to just continue with it. They have come up with a pretty generous compensation package. I'm not going to belabor all the points that I made in my video a couple of wars ago when I went on a rant, but the compensation is nice. Ultimately, instead of compensation, I'd really just like them to focus more time and effort on testing, and just, you know, get to the point where we're not encountering these issues in the first place, or not so many of them. But in any case, let's just get right into the scoping for this war. This is a fairly easy one, at least by the looks of it. We'll see how that actually works out. So the first fight is against this Rintrah, only an R4. Kind of unusual to see so many R4 defenders in Tier 2, but I won't complain about that. Next fight is another R4. It's the Spidey Supreme, so a couple of Mystic champs who can be a little bit tricky, but don't really have anything special going for them on this path. And then we have Dust. I think this is also an R4. Either R4 or low sig R5. Yeah, it's only an R4. So 3 R4 champs to start it out, and then I think this is a 7-star rank 1 Knull on his favorite node here. So because it's a 7-star, it's a fairly low sig level, which means he's not going to be as challenging as he could be. And then I've elected to take these 2 mini-bosses. The first is this Black Panther Civil War. Although he is tactic, I haven't ever seen him before, so interesting placement. Again, only an R4. And then Kindred, who I usually struggle against, but because of my attacker choices and the fact that this is only an R4, I figured I'd be able to take that fairly comfortably. So, 6 fights, but 6 R4s in Tier 2 war. Again, pretty unusual. No shade against our opponents, but just, I guess credit to them that they were able to get to this level with a fairly under-leveled defense compared to what you usually find in Tier 2. So anyway, the first fight is against this Rintrah. Again, if he puts ruptures on you, those ruptures kind of last a long time, so it can get a little bit challenging, but other than that, there's really nothing going for him. So, because of all the mystics that I'm going to take, I've decided to bring Titania for this war. She's not a tactic attacker, but all these mystics are not tactic either, so should be totally fine. And the game plan is basically just, as long as you're not, getting Rintrah above 10 of his whatever charges, he's totally fine, right? So just knock him down every other combo so that you're keeping his charges to a minimum, and it should be a straightforward fight, especially with Titania. So let's just go ahead and watch it. Actually, you know what? I'm going to speed this fight up a little bit. Or quite a bit, actually. Just because, I think everybody's fought Rintrah a bunch of times, so you know that if you're using a buff immune champ like Titania, again, the only way that it can really hurt you is if you go over 10 of his mystic charges, and if we're knocking him down quickly and often, then that's not going to be a concern. So, you can see that it's not going as quickly as it could, just because I'm being a little bit safe, because I have fairly under-leveled defenders compared to the strength of my attackers. I'm going to try and use as few items as possible, so I could make this fight go a bit faster, but at the risk of losing some health. So I'm just going to take it kind of slow and see if I can minimize that health loss. And it does look like after almost 2 minutes, again, kind of a longer fight than you would expect for an R2 7-star against an R4 6-star, but by taking it slow, I only lost 3% health. So happy about that. On to the next fight, which is the Spider-Man Supreme. So again, because I have brought a buff immune attacker in Titania, that really just gets rid of any potential threat that Spidey Supreme can really pose to me, right? So I'm very confident going to this. I'm going to bring Titania, and there's really no need for a plan because it's just going to be an entirely normal fight, right? What am I going to say? Just evade his specials? Well, that's kind of obvious. So let's go ahead and watch that fight, and let's actually speed this one up as well. Yeah, so he's never going to go invisible because I am buff immune, so I can just attack him normally. I can easily evade either his special 1 or special 2, so I'm not really taking any special pains to bait either one. So here's the special 2, go ahead and evade it. He's already down below 50% health. This Spidey is kind of the glass cannon, so yeah, he's going to go down quickly. So 40-second fight, and I still haven't lost too much health. I guess I'm still at 97% with Titania, so I didn't lose anything in that fight. So that's good. Let's just move right along. Maybe we can make this one of my more efficient war videos. So this is Dust now on fight number 3 of Path 4. Dust can be a little bit of a tricky defender. You know, she does have the ability to start up that sandstorm, which can do some damage on you, and her specials can be slightly tricky. But I had encountered Dust on a previous war. And so I had done a bunch of practice on evading her special 1, and I have it totally down, so I'm not really too concerned about this fight. So even though she's not tactic, I am going to use a tactic attacker in Sunspot, because Sunspot has easy access to Incinerate. That basically destroys any ability that Dust has to really hurt me. Anytime that you Incinerate her, gets rid of the Dust debuffs that she's putting on you, so... I'm expecting this to be a nothing fight. Just to be sure, again, I'm trying to limit the number of potions. I have lots and lots of boosts that I can use. So my plan is I'm going to focus on the L1s and bait those and do the full evade. And then just one SP1, I'll spam SP2, I'll put that mutant power back boost on. So even if she doesn't die after the first special 2, she should die quickly after that with a second special 2. That's the idea going in. So let's start up the fight. Again, I am punching down quite a bit here with a 7-star rank 2 against a 6-star rank 4. I'm already at my first L1. Because she's not unblockable, I'm going to go ahead and parry and reapply a bunch of Incinerates to keep my charges up. For some reason, I decided to abandon the game plan and go for a second L1. I think I was just looking at her health bar and maybe felt a little bit uncertain. I don't know. So she'd actually go unblockable there because she nipped me, but because I am able to full dex her L1, it wasn't an issue. I'll just wait for these 2 debuffs to expire. Dust does not put any permanent debuffs on you, so she's not really a threat to go permanently unblockable on these types of nodes. Okay, so we should be pretty close to our L2 at this point, and we just go ahead and throw it, and of course she's going to die. I could have done this with 1 L1 and 1 L2, I'm pretty sure. But better safe than sorry. Only 3% health loss with Sunspot. I am going to use him again this war, so good that I was able to keep him healthy. Alright, and then Knull. Check out that animation. So I spent a long time on that animation. Hope it looks cool to you folks. Actually, because we've been just zooming through these fights, let's actually see it again. Get my money's worth for all the time that I spent on this animation. So we'll see if I can do that more often. I think I have a way to do these animations a little bit faster than my previous method. But in any case, you know, Knull is really a very common placement here, so which means because I've been taking Path 4, you've seen me talk about this fight a bunch of times. So I'm just going to come in with Elsa, who's been really doing a very good job for me against Knull in the previous encounters. It's the same exact game plan, which is just let those debuffs expire because it's low sig Knull. That should happen fairly quickly, and just hard hold blocks so that he's not going to throw his SP1s, and it should be a straightforward fight. There's still some dangers to it, but at least conceptually simple, which I always like. So I still had my Power Start 1 boost from the previous fight. I don't think I mentioned that in the game plan. That was really, I guess, overly cautious. I should have saved that boost probably, but in any case, I still had it, so I'm going to go ahead and get him over that bar of power and try to do as much damage as I can. Hard hold block so that he doesn't throw that L1. And then I am able to get him to his L2, which I'll then bait out. Well, I'll fire my special first, and then I'll bait this out. This fight's going according to plan so far. So I do dex the L2 successfully. I'm pretty comfortable with that. He catches me on a dashback, and did quite a bit of damage I wasn't expecting to do quite that much at only a 7-star rank 1. But I'm able to recover, and now I have him back in an L2, so as long as I evade this, it's going to be easy. I'll wait out the armor breaks, which only takes a few seconds, and then I'll do my counterattacks to take him down. Actually, I'll just take him down just below a bar of power to be extra safe, and then I'll try to finish him off with just one combo and the SP1. Does it kill him? I think it doesn't quite kill him. Well, it kills him. Okay, good. So it took some damage to Elsa, a lot more than I would like. That was a little bit sketchier than most of my Elsa Knull encounters have been, but I'm not going to use Elsa again this war, so no real big deal. Okay, so for the mini-bosses, the first one is this Black Panther Civil War, who is tactic, but I think he probably made more sense as a tactic defender in the first iteration of the Magic Thief meta, where you couldn't just get rid of indestructible charges by hitting into block with your lights, right? If you had to parry, Black Panther Civil War, if he has an armor up buff, will reflect that stun that you inflict on him when you try to parry him. So he would have been a lot trickier, but because you can now just get rid of indestructibles by hitting light into block, you know, he probably just should have been removed from the tactic because he really has almost zero value, I think, as a defender. Just don't parry him and you're totally fine. So I am going to come in with a tactic attacker. You already saw Sunspot in action, so he should make quick work of this Black Panther. So just don't parry. Because there is this power snack node, just keep his power low so that you don't run the risk of getting him to L3, and just make sure, because I'm going to be doing most of my damage with specials, just make sure that Power Sting is not active when I throw my specials. So again, this should be a straightforward fight. Only a 6-star rank 4, I'm using a 7-star rank 2 boosted, so this should go pretty quick. So I can parry him at the outset, just because he doesn't have that armor up buff yet. He is duped, but I know that that is expiring soon, so now he does have armor buffs, so I can't parry the rest of the fight. But I already have him with, I already have a solar charge up. Got his power a little bit higher than I would have liked, probably, but I know that I have my dexterity buff up, so as long as I don't actually strike him, I'm in little danger of actually triggering an additional power snack. So I'm doing lights into block just to get the prowess up. Got my L2 almost ready here. I actually probably don't even need to fire it. He's just from one L1 in regular combos, he's dead. I don't know why I decided to do that kind of weird intercept or interrupt with the special. That was maybe a little bit riskier than it needed to be. But that fight's done, and so on to the final fight, which is this Kindred, who again, I usually am not really too comfortable fighting against Kindred. In Battlegrounds, I actually often ban him if he's duped. But because I have Titania, because it is only a 6-star rank 4, I elected to go ahead and take this. I felt like it would be fairly safe. So this is the node where he can go unblockable after he procs a number of regens. And if you have a lot of buffs on you, or if you have any buffs on you, that's going to reduce your ability power rate, as well as, reduce your combat power rate, sorry. As well as you'll get power drained every time a buff procs. And then there's a high energy guide, so you don't want to come in with a champ that's going to be doing energy damage. But because I'm bringing in Titania, really very little of this applies, right? I'm not going to have buffs on me, so I'm going to have access to all my usual power, and all of her attacks do physical damage. So it's really just treat this as a normal Kindred fight. So try to counter the specials if you can. Try to avoid him throwing heavies. What else is there to him? Right, obviously get away from him if his degen is up, and make sure that you have a special ready in the tank for when he gets low on health, so that you can fire it once you're rooted. So let's see if I can finish this Deathless War. I'll go ahead and again, just doing normal attacks while he's not in that degen phase, doesn't have a bar of power, there's really nothing special. So I don't bother to try and do the special set of moves so that I can stay close to him and punish his L1. I'm not totally comfortable with it, so there's no reason to really, I guess, play with fire there. So he has his degens up, I'm just going to stay away from him, keep backing up, not backing up too aggressively because I don't want to get cornered. So his degen phase is almost done, and I can resume my normal attacks. So he's going to be below 50% soon. I'm building up to what I think is going to be the L3. But I was expecting that first heavy hit to actually take me to 3 bars, and it didn't. I often make that mistake with Titania. I think the first hit of her heavy doesn't actually give you that much power, or not as much as I guess expected to. But no matter, it still did a lot of damage. He's below 33% health, so less than a third of the fight to go. I just have to bait out this L2 if he ever throws it. I'm actually not sure why he lost some power there. And I'm also not sure why I was pushing his power so high, but anyway, fortunately he does throw quickly. I'm backing away because his degen phase is started again, but it's almost over again. So bait one more special, and now I can push him hopefully down to that threshold of health where he's going to root me. I forget where it is, like 5% or 2%, but in any case, I'm just going to wait for it to trigger, and then I'll throw my special. So, yeah, it's 5%, so go ahead and throw it, and done. So lost like 13% health, mostly to the degen, but fairly easy. So that's my war. Again, a fairly easy war. Actually, an itemless war, which I don't have many of those, so that was fortunate to save some items because I have had some very item-full wars. So like I said, you know, this was, we kind of were, both in terms of attack as well as defense, a lot stronger than this alliance. So again, kudos to them for getting up to this war rating with relatively weak attackers and defenders, but it was a relatively easy war for us. Died 50 times, which, considering the ease of the defense, I'd like that to be a little bit lower, but still, it was strong for us. So it was a clear win from the beginning, so it's always nice to have a war where you can kind of cruise. So more importantly, because that was a tier 2 war, so we get a good amount of points from that, as well as it solidifies our standing in tier 2, which is really the most important thing at this point. We have little chance of actually placing in Plat 2 by the end of the season. If we win out, maybe there's like a hair of a chance, but I'm not counting on that. I really just want us to win the majority of our wars going forward so that we are solidly in tier 2, so that we can spend the next season entirely in tier 2, and that should really, if we can do that, that should set us up well for our first Plat 2 finish. So yeah, very hopeful about that, excited. So let's see if we can finish the war season out strong. 3 wars left, so it's the final week of the war, final week of the season. Yeah, hopefully we'll get those war videos out to you soon, and they will be good ones. So as always, please do like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. If you have any comments, please do leave them for me so that I can learn. And yeah, please do share with your friends. I do want to get my subscriber count up. I was hoping to be at 100 by the end of April. Seems like a big challenge at this point. I'm still below 50, so anything you can do to help my subscriber count would be appreciated. All right, see you all next time.